everybody, and welcome back to a very special Cooking with Ken video. Today I am here with Stephen of Ag in the City, who's going to be giving us a tour of the facility and breaking down all of what Ag in the City is. Stephen, why don't you introduce yourself for us?
Okay, yes, my name is Stephen Lewis. I'm the founder of Ag in the City, a local nonprofit that deals with urban agriculture, as far as urban agriculture education. We also provide fresh produce to the community, and we do a lot of events such as farmers markets and free produce giveaways for those in need. Excellent. So right now we're just going to give you a tour of the community garden that we manage in partnership with Louisville Grows, a local nonprofit who has given us control over the area and just given us the ability to manage and giving us access to this wonderful space. So I'm just going to give you a tour, a walkthrough of some of the things we have going on, and let you know what we're doing. So this is our community garden for seniors who live in the neighborhood. So as you can see, they got a lot of fresh produce growing. These are two women particularly who live in the area. They've been growing over here for several years, and so yeah, you can just see some of the stuff they're doing. They're growing okra. They have beans. They have peas, kale. Let me take you down here. You can see some other stuff. We got some turnip greens. We have a lot of fresh kale, collards, cabbage of different variety, mustard greens. So there's some more of the collard greens. And yeah, so just come on, turn it around. Now this is one of the more interesting things growing right here. These are peanuts. So
These are peanuts.
Shout out to George Washington Carver right here. So these are peanuts. Yeah, and I don't know if you know, but peanuts actually grow underground.
Yes,
so
they're a legume, not an actual nut.
Exactly. So yeah, so you have to dig them up when they're ready and everything. But yeah, it's really my first time seeing peanuts grown, and this gardener, she grows them every year, and so I'm excited to see how they turn out.
About how much would you say an individual peanut plant yields?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, I wouldn't imagine it to be much. I don't know. It seems, but I guess when the plant gets bigger, we can, see this year when she harvests, see what she gets out of it.
Maybe we can get in on that.
Yeah, she actually gave me some seeds too, so I'm gonna try to do some when I get some time. This is another senior, Mr. Lewis. This is his garden. He's old school farmer. He was like, we never even watered when we used to farm, so he just comes out here. Plants and stuff. I don't think he's even watered these yet. We just go, with the rain. Because Kentucky gets so much rain. But so you see, he has squash. He has some squash plants right here. This looks like broccoli. Some more peas and beans. And then we have some yellow squash.
Got some good blooms coming in.
Yeah, and I don't know. People cook with these.
Yeah.
Yeah. They fry these blossoms up and eat them. And if you come in the morning.
Cheese.
Let me see. If you come in the morning, there's something called a squash bee, right? So if you come in the morning, okay, this is zucchini. Look, you see it right here.
Here we go.
Oh shoot! Pull the blossom off. Yeah, so that's zucchini. But if you come in the morning, there's something called a squash bee, and what they do, they come in the flower at night, kind of pollinate it, and fall asleep. And you can come in the morning and tap some, and sometimes you'll find a bee in here, which is really interesting. I've seen it a few times. Yeah, so you have some zucchini growing. That's going to be some baby okra. Like cucumbers. Swiss chard over there. Different colors, Swiss chard. So, the plant's looking really good, actually. And then this is my little baby right here. It doesn't look like much. But this is a cover crop plot. So I planted this. So this is my no-till cover crop plot. And what I did, I came here in October, laid down plastic over the grass. The grass was just like this. I laid down plastic for like 2 months just to kill all the weeds and stuff like that. Then I pulled it out, just broadcast the seeds onto the plot, watered it, covered it back a little bit to get some heat, and waited for it to germinate. Then I came back like a month later, uncovered it, and it's been growing since. So a cover crop is something you want to plant on your farm or in your garden during the off season when the plants are not being grown, because you don't want to leave your soil exposed to just plain dirt over the winter, because the rain is going to erode your garden.
Yeah.
It's going to lead to more runoff into the sewer systems and deplete the soil. So you want to plant something that's going to keep the soil intact with the roots, But this is also going to feed the microorganisms that's in the soil that that really does all the work of releasing nutrients to your plants. So this is a mixture of 6 different types of seeds. We have this is my first time growing it, so like I can't really identify what the difference between some stuff. So I don't know if this is rye or barley, but I know
it's a grain.
Yeah, it's a grain. So I planted ryegrass, barley, buckwheat, hairy vetch, white clover, and daikon radish, and pea shoots. Okay, so here's the reason. We do the barley grain because they grow, or like the grains, we do them because they grow up tall. When they die, they create straw that can be laid down. Okay, then we do our like hairy vetch and our white clover. These are legumes. So hairy vetch will be the one with the purple flowers. So you might see this. This is a legume plant. And what legumes do, they have a bacteria on their roots that actually takes the nitrogen from the atmosphere and transplants it down into the soil.
So you don't have to fix the nitrogen in the soil.
Exactly, yep. So, and that's what white clover does. So like you see a lot of farms, they usually have a lot of clover because clover is a legume too, and it puts nitrogen from the atmosphere in the soil. So then we have the buckwheat and the barley are for the same purposes of straw, creating straw. And then the daikon radish is a large root that grows on the ground. And what that does, that breaks up the soil as it grows. So it's going to break it up, loosen it up. And when the root dies, it's going to feed the microorganisms over the winter, stuff like that, to keep them alive.
So that's not a radish you're planning to harvest?
No. So you can see we have some little, let's see, I don't know what these are. We have some pea shoots.
We can get one of these legume pods here.
Yeah, see? So yeah, so we do have a few weeds, I guess, that came up through it. Like this is Johnson grass, which is a very invasive weed, and I mean it's really hard to get rid of. But so the idea was to really plant this very heavily to kind of choke out all the invasive weeds. So I mean it's doing a pretty good job. Like a lot of stuff gets blown in when they cut the grass and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but yeah, so this is my little pet project. And what I plan to do when it's time to plant, I'm gonna do this a no-till. So I'm gonna come just cut everything down. Let the grass die on the plot so all the nutrients get recycled back in the soil, and probably lay some compost down and just plant directly into that. You can see how well it does.
So do you know what you're gonna plant out here?
No, not yet. Oh. I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So that's next year.
Yeah. Or probably the fall. It just depends on how much
fall,
time.
okay.
Yeah. Just depends. I might let it grow to next year, but I just like seeing it.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
And yeah, this is a weed right here. Actually, it's called mugwort.
I've heard of mugwort.
Yeah, they sell this in the store. It's in the mint family. It's like a sleep herb, I guess, or a sedative.
Yeah.
So you make a tea out of it. It helps you go to sleep. You dry it out. You can smoke it. I use it to sage, like smudge my house with. Just like you would do sage, you can use mugwort to kind of smudge your house with it. And then there's a Chinese, in Chinese acupuncture, there's something called moxibustion, which is, I don't know if you've probably seen it where they take the glass and they put it on people's skin.
Yes, after heating the inside of it.
Yeah, the thing they heat is mugwort. Yeah, so when you dry it out and you rub it between your hands, it turns to like a cotton ball type texture. And then they put that in the glass, they heat it up, and then that's what they're actually using.
And that was just a weed.
Yeah, it grows everywhere over here.
Wow.
See, there's some right there.
A weed with function.
Yeah, that's probably a lot, dude.
So I don't know if you want me to tell you about the weeds as we walk, or just make that a separate part, but
Yeah, no.
yeah. So this right here, this is called yellow dock.
Yellow dock.
Yeah, they sell this in herb stores too. It's highly used in Chinese medicine. And the reason why it's called yellow is because if I can get a good root. See, the root is yellow.
Ooh, very yellow.
It's kind of spicy smelling too. Yes, this is yellow dock, or Rumex crispus is the scientific name.
Do you know if this is edible at all?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so the leaves, you just saute them up in some oil. They're very high in vitamin E and vitamin A. The seeds, when they turn brown, there was something that's kind of brown over there. When they turn completely like a rusted color brown, the seeds, you can eat, but it's really hard to get the chaff off of it. So I don't really try.
It's a very astringent green.
Oh yeah, okay. he just went at it. And then the roots,
Oh, yeah.
the roots, you actually take it, you dry it out, and you make it in tea. So yeah, like yellow dock tea is really good for your liver. Hence the yellow color too. Yellow and the liver correspond. So yeah.
For those of you with jaundice.
Yep. So yeah, that's another one right there. This act right here is actually called. This is called Sorrel, which is a. It's kind of related to this, but yeah, so you can taste this. It's very sour. It has a lemony taste. So yeah, it's called.
Oh, it does.
It's called wood sorrel.
Very citric. Everybody try this right now.
And you can eat the flower too. The flowers are good too. You wanna try one? Go ahead.
I really like that.
Yeah. Good, ain't? Yeah.
Not bad.
Wow,
And that just
that's
shows up.
amazing.
Yeah, it's a weed too.
That's like wonderful.
Yeah.
Right? I want
Put in
that
your
in a
salad or
salad.
something. The other greenhouse. This greenhouse got damaged in a storm last year, so we have some volunteers, mainly our neighbor who's very hands-on with the garden over here. We're gonna put new plastic on it, and then we're gonna be growing in the ground during the late season, probably some tomatoes and peppers and things like that. So yeah, so we'll be able to get tomatoes in here in November.
Now these greenhouses are massive. About how much are they producing during the growing season?
Well, lately this one hasn't because it's been out, out of operation. But this is like 100 foot by 36 foot. So I mean, you could get a few hundred plants in here. I mean, you can get hundreds of pounds of tomatoes if you were to plant in there. Yeah.
In such a finite space.
Yeah. Still is in a little circle area, so we can sit on the rocks. They used to do like when this place was really active. We used to have Kristen from Play Cousins actually used to come and do a story time with the kids.
Okay.
Yeah, it was real cool. We have drum circles, so we want to get that back going again.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. This is a garden. There was a community garden member named Reggie who actually passed 2 years ago.
Did he? I think
Yeah.
I knew him.
Yeah. So he started this garden. So it's been kind of in disrepair, the last couple years. So we really wanted to get this fixed up. So we brought mulch in. We had some volunteers come and just spread all the mulch down. We put a cardboard down under it just to keep the weeds, and then we put the mulch on top and just kind of manicured it. So, if anybody has any plants they want to donate, like flowering plants, we'll plant them in here. We have like hostas, and I think that's like a black willow tree, and we have just different kind of flowering plants in here, roses. So, we want to make this a place people can just come relax, chill, take in some good scenery.
Is this space back here behind the garden also part of
Yeah.
the growing operation?
Yeah, so this whole property is 5 acres.
5 acres.
Yeah. And the city owns it. So we have access to it right now. So this is another gardener. With the whole COVID outbreak, he was really anxious about getting an apocalyptic garden started. Just in case the world ends, he really wanted to start a garden. So he came out here. He's really helpful. That's the same guy who's helping us with the greenhouse. He's really helpful. So he has a lot of stuff growing. You see, he has Swiss chard, lettuce, more kale. I mean, if he doesn't come get this, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna tell him come harvest this. Cabbage. So I mean, everything looks lovely. Dill.
Wow, so the apocalypse hasn't come, so we
Yeah.
can harvest it. That's
Yep. So dinosaur or this red Russian kale. And man, look at that. It just looks beautiful,
It does.
So I mean, look how much you can grow. This is, I think, maybe a 40 foot, about 20 foot. And you can pretty much feed your whole family with just a space that big.
And that's that could be relatively replicated in most yards.
Yeah. Yep. With a little know-how.
And a little patience.
He has some mint over here. He doesn't mind if I take anything, so don't. He's gonna taste some mint. Gonna take a piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We
Little
want
freshener.
some of that, yeah.
And this one's kind of got a little basil-y scent to it.
Yeah. And this is my favorite. This is arugula, right?
Yes,
I can
yes.
tell, but I don't eat the green. I like to eat the flowers.
Not
Like
the greens.
I mean the greens are good, but I just like to just pick a few flowers every now and then. One, it helps it from flowering too early. And you want to taste some flowers?
It's not as peppery as the greens are.
Yeah.
Delicious.
So good.
But this is a watermelon here.
Yeah. No, this is a weed called cleve. And this is edible too, but why do they call it cleve? Because look. Oh dang, it didn't do it. It's supposed to stick to maybe it's not his shirt. It'll stick to Gerald's shirt. No? Okay.
Oh, it's not Cleveland.
It's not Cleveland today. It's not Cleveland today, but yes, they do clean to your clothes a lot. But yeah, he has more squash, more things growing, and so this is actually radish. He actually lined his garden with radishes just to keep a little barrier. So you see some right there. But yep. And then let's take you down to some more plots down here. So we have about, what does it say, 14 smaller plots over here. So what we want to do is encourage some people with the larger plots to do market gardening, where they're gardening to like sell their surplus or whatever like that, and then we can buy it from them.
Yeah.
So kind of train people on how to grow with the proper techniques, and then we know when they get good enough, they'll have stuff that we can actually buy from them. Kind of encourage cooperative economics, local food economy.
Is that something you're just making open to everybody, or people like in the neighborhood specifically?
Pretty much everyone, but with gardening, it's very intensive. So if you can't come here at least every day, I wouldn't, like garden somewhere far away, because people don't really realize how hard a work it is, and just fighting these weeds is a full-time job. So this is a gardener. Her name is Madeline. She's very helpful around here. So she's growing a lot of flowers right there. That's calendula. I mean, it's beautiful.
Very sweet smelling.
Does she have specific plans for the flowers?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Looks like she's been cutting some for like some
Arrangements or maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, this is echinacea. This is chamomile. So yeah, she's a market gardener. She's growing a lot of stuff to sell. She makes her own herbal blends and stuff like that. So she's probably gonna make the chamomile to tea that she sells, the echinacea to tea. You can use the calendula flowers in tea. That looks like verbena with the purple flowers. I'm not sure what that is. Or that. She has some mint. Don't much mint. It does look familiar.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on a lot of stuff. So. I'm a vegetable guy more so than. So yeah, and then these are some of the plots that the community gardeners rented out. So here's another weed right here. Just, you see how abundant this is. This is called lamb's quarters. This is it's comparative to spinach, but yeah, it's actually more nutritious than spinach. But yeah, I mean, it has a nice soft, just nice, neutral flavor.
I know we're all like,
Yeah.
can I get some? It would be interesting, like to teach people about weeds and like really cook with them and like just have a whole.
The weeds
session
are
like
very medicinal, because when a site like the ground is disturbed, or like the forest gets burnt, or anything like happens to the ecosystem, the weeds are the first thing to come in there and colonize the area and kind of repair everything. So like they have a lot of medicinal value in them in that sense too, because they're the first one to come restore things or something's disturbed. So yeah, eat the weeds. That's what I say.
It's about everyone we've seen today is edible.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a youth build. They have a plot out here. As you can see, the battle against the weeds. I mean, it's an intense battle. I'm gonna show you a plot over here. Very intense.
Hose is running everywhere. Watch your feet.
Yeah, this mud right there. So this garden is an excellent garden. This is the garden of one of our growers. His name is VJ. He grows all of this to donate through his church. He's out here like 7 days a week. I mean, like 10 hours a day. I come by going home at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. He's still out here. So he's planted all this himself. But like a help from a few people. But I mean, he's got tomatoes. He's got Swiss chard. He's got collard greens. I mean, just all the way down there. So
All for the community.
yeah, he does all for his church. So these are peach trees.
Are these where our peaches came from?
No, they didn't. No, as you can see, these are not ready yet. So, since we're in a higher latitude, our stuff is a little later than someplace like Georgia, South Carolina, who already has peaches. So yeah, these are not ready yet, but they're growing. So all these are peach trees lining through here.
Wow. What are some other like fruits like this that are really good in the area?
Peaches, apples, pears, plums. You do mulberry. You can do cherries. Pretty much anything but your tropical stuff like oranges and pineapples and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's because
So we'll harvest these and sell them.
Hopefully, I mean, every year they seem to get like because like fruit trees, you have to put some kind of fungicide on them because they do get a lot of like pest problems and fungal problems. So the past years, no one's really done anything. So I don't know how many peaches they got off of it, but I'm gonna look this year to see what we can get. But usually, like when they start to get ripe, that's when all the bugs and diseases and stuff come, and you lose them. So hopefully we'll get some this year. Squirrels, because like you see some have already fallen off. Yeah. Let's see. Probably have to come like fertilize them. I'm sure they haven't been fertilized in years. So do some more maintenance when we get some time. Do some pruning, stuff like that.
Now, are these trees going to get much bigger than they currently are?
Yeah. So I mean, they'll keep going. That's why you like to prune them so you can have it where it's easy to harvest. When it gets too tall, it's gonna be really hard to get the stuff at the top. So people like to keep them at a manageable height. He's out here all the time hoeing and weeding and just so much stuff. Cutting the grass around the area.
How do you go about renting a plot?
Well, we sold them all, but really, you would just contact us through our Ag in the City page. Say you're interested in a plot. We have a form you fill out. You pay $30, and that's for the growing season. And then you come plant when you have time. We have a tiller on site and some equipment and stuff like that.
Do plot sizes vary, or are they all about that same?
They're all about
20 by
25 by 25.
25 by 25.
Yeah, which is a good size plot. Especially if you're a first timer. So like a lot of our gardeners this year have been first time gardeners. Yeah, so this is another guy's plot right here. You see he has the TP style stakes. He's gonna grow beans up those. They grow up there. He has sunflowers, peppers, tomatoes. It's really nice. Yeah, so this is so you can see about the size of the plot right here. So they planted tomatoes in this. Like last week, there was probably hardly any weeds. And that's how fast they
all
grow.
this has come back.
Yeah. So I recommend people to do something like this, which I tell this guy to do. Get you a weed barrier. This is called woven landscape fabric. You put that down. It's woven, so it still allows water to go down to the soil, but it doesn't allow the weeds to come up.
Okay.
And you see how much easier that is to manage. I mean, it's like a no-brainer, really.
Now, I've heard of people putting, of course, straw down, gravel down, wood chips. Are those just not as effective?
Wood chips work pretty good too. Yeah, just really how you manage it. So this is a plot that was planted, and they came. They haven't had a chance to really come do a lot of maintenance. Look how thick and lush these weeds are.
And there's the lettuce popping out of it.
Yeah, there's the collard greens. There's the kale. So I'm gonna help this person kind of manage it. I'm gonna come and just harvest everything she's been growing, give that to her, cut all this down, and just kind of, first time gardener. So I'm just cutting it down, and cause once she gets the food and sees like, hey, look how much food I got just from this, it's gonna really encourage her to come back out, and really get more active. So the plan would be to harvest this, cut the weeds down, put some barrier down, then let her come plant. And so like our goal really is to be able to do that for the whole plot. Get enough funds to really just cover everything, so people don't have to worry about weed management, and set up a drip irrigation system so they don't have to worry about watering either. You just come like plug and play,
So everybody's handling watering on their own right now.
And really, with so much rain we get, you don't really have to. I mean, this is probably the months we're gonna need the most water, but like Kentucky got like 70 inches of rain last year, so it's, it's great, for growing. So this plot was weeded. I came and cut all this down the other day, tilled it up, just to kill the weeds, and I'm gonna put some fabric down, cover it up, and plant in that. So this probably the one plot I can actually grow this year. So yeah. So the same gardener who was growing those flowers, she's actually growing this too. This is the Indigo.
Oh, this is indigo.
Yeah. And so this is used as a dye. She's gonna work on making organic dyes and using that in some of her projects.
Now, I recognize indigo as a shade of blue, but I'm seeing very green plants. Are we waiting for flowers to come off?
Most likely.
Cute little bug on the plant.
She came and did some weeding the other. I can tell because it was looking pretty bad the other day. So it's good if you can grow garden close to your house, so you can, you don't have to have too much trouble getting to and fro because you do have to stay on top of the weeds. For sure. Let's go over here. I got a special surprise over here. Ooh. Nowhere else in this part of town will you find what you're about to see here. So yeah, this is my favorite area, like the wooded, shaded area. So, and I'll tell you what our plans for this is. All right. Here we go.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh my goodness.
All excited?
Yep. Oh yeah. So what we've been doing in the neighborhood, we take all our food scraps that I don't put it in the compost and we give them to the pigs. I put a ton of that kale and collards out here. Yes, it's all gone. So apparently they like it. I'll put a ton of it out here. So just kind of feed them. But, yeah, the babies are really shy.
Did you just start the pigs?
Well, our neighbor again, yeah, he's been raising pigs, so we decided to put them over here because what they're doing, they're clearing out the spot for us.
Because they'll naturally till the soil.
Yeah. But so they're gonna clear it out. We're gonna just keep expanding it around. So it's almost like a pig tractor, like you ever heard of chicken tractor. So yeah.
Yes, I know about shit.
and then it's cool. The kids get to come, pet the pigs and feed them and stuff like that. So it's a nice attraction area for them. Whoa. To get out of my way there. I put a ton, so it's good to know they ate it. I wasn't sure.
Now, do you happen to know what kind of pigs these are?
No, I don't. I have to get a sure. So yeah, this is a cool idea, and pigs are cool pets. They're smart, and two, they don't make a lot of noise. Like you would do chickens or stuff. So that's why I was like, oh, okay. If I ate pork, I'd be a little, but I don't. But it'd be cool just to raise and
Are these just being raised? Are they being raised for pork later?
Yeah.
Okay. Cycle of life.
Yeah. So yeah.
We appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you. Eat up. But yeah, this is so cool. Cool to get some goats or something.
Oh yeah.
Guess what one? Oh yeah, those are getting out. The little babies, they're going through the mess, so I guess he kind of fixed it up. Look, I had okay, there they go. So they need all of them, I guess. Yeah, a lot of them, though. Yes, they're cleaning stuff up.
Is all that going to get moved? Probably composted or?
Yeah, I don't even know who put all that over there, to be honest. It was not there.
How much space are you trying to get the pigs to end up filling?
Shoot, probably, a lot of this over here that we really don't have a lot of access to. We can expand the gates out for them. So, but, yeah, maybe we might move them over here too, just to clean out stuff. What we want to do back here is make this a woodland garden. So there's a path, a tree, I think it's over here. To where I don't know if you've ever been to Whitehall over on Lexington and East End. Yeah, they have a woodland garden that the master gardeners put in. It's like a fern garden and stuff like that. So we want to have one of those over here where we put a nice walking path, and then to the sides we have different ferns and shaded plants in here. So we do have ferns over here actually. Let's see if there's a good path to walk through. Yeah, just kind of have different plants over in the side. There's some Solomon seal back here, some hostas, different types of ferns. Let's see, when this wasn't grown up, it was easy to find out. So if you can tell, there's a row of oak trees that kind of line this little path right here.
Oh, those around,
yeah. You can walk down, but Yeah, just kind of make some path over here. And try to place some fire. See, there's one.
Here's one.
Yep.
Now, I heard you say earlier that this space is all city-owned.
Yeah.
Is it up to the city to maintain this, or you guys?
It's yeah, so Louisville Grows, they have a guy who comes and cuts the grass and stuff like that. But all the other stuff, we kind of just been, maintain. Like, we have to move broken branches and stuff like that. We just do that. But yeah, Louisville Grows is kind of taking care of the maintenance and stuff, getting the grass cut. And we would like to inoculate some mushroom logs, put them out here.
Ooh, yeah.
Have mushroom logs scattered out throughout here. People can come forage. It's very cool.
Now, speaking of forage, I know you guys forage.
Yeah.
Is there any particular areas that are ideal for foraging?
Yeah, but if I told you, I have to get rid of you because everybody be in our forage spot.
Let's not talk specifics then. Let's talk. You guys
West
general
End.
for mushrooms. You're talking about inoculating. And when you go out looking for mushrooms, what exactly are you looking for in an ecosystem?
Look at somewhere that has that's facing east, like southeast facing slopes are a good place. And then really you want to look for the trees in the area because mushrooms, they colonize either living or dead trees. So there's specific trees that certain type of mushrooms tend to grow on. And what I found to be the most general tree to find, the majority of the mushrooms is oak. Oh, like yeah. So we found shiitake, reishi, oyster, chicken of the woods, hen of the woods.
I got some of those last year.
Yeah. All on oak trees, So that's tend to be a place where we go. And generally, like everything we found has been in the West End. Like I have, we've gone to Cherokee Park. Haven't found anything in Cherokee Park. I found like some chicken of the woods at George Rogers Clark Park, but the majority of all the stuff we found has been over here in this area.
Yeah, you said southeast-facing slopes. What's special about the southeast direction for mushrooms?
I think sun. Yeah, just access to sunlight. Because like the north side of a slope tends to be colder because it doesn't really get a lot of sun. So they say you want to find something that's like southeast facing, southwest, just to get that sunlight. Because mushrooms do need sun to grow once they fruit, from underground. So that tends to be the general. That's just kind of a rule of thumb, but it's not in stone or whatever. So.
Gotcha.
Louisville Grows like a few years ago planted raspberries, and they've been coming back.
All these with the serrated leaves.
Yeah, you'll know because they have. I don't know if these are the thornless.
They look thornless.
Yeah, thank God. But yeah, so these are raspberries. But it's funny because over here they're not ready, but I was just in downtown off of Barrett and they were ready over there. So,
and we've got them coming in my community garden too, and the blackberries right now.
Yeah. So. Oh, I got one more thing, which is exciting and tasty. And it's over here.
A weed garden.
An edible weed garden.
Yeah, right. It's right.
Bring your taste buds. We have blueberries.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm gonna pick some. Oh man, that's good. So you want to get them when they're kind of full.
Oh, thanks. Ooh.
I need to water this. It's drying out.
Mmm.
Okay, yeah, so pick a few. There's a bunch of plants. I'm gonna water these.
Oh goodness, that's so much more flavorful than I get in stores. Gerald, eat one of these.
Now it's sour.
These taste so much better though.
You want to get it when it's really, really green?
Yeah, when it's like elliptical shapes. Yeah, you can. Right. Yeah. Well, that's not blue enough, but it's kind of sour when it's
I
hot.
had a sour one from over there.
And we harvested so many last year.
And are these putting off fruit all throughout the summer?
Yeah, they come just one time. After this, they won't produce anymore.
Okay.
So you can't go away.
No. Freeze them, make some jam, can them.
Yeah, if you want to pick some for your thing on for your.
Ooh.
I could try to come get some when there's more ripe ones.
Yo, shoot, I could back.
Oh, look at this one. There you go.
Okay, that could be the next thing we do is blueberries.
Yeah.
Just talking fresh berries.
Yes. That was a good one.
Yeah. So, I used to grow these back in college.
That one was pretty.
That's a good one.
People should do berry hedges.
Really?
That's it. Like that's
I
really.
mean, it's pretty much no maintenance. We just planted them. Here you go.
But they need full sun.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Got me thinking.
Definitely. All you gotta do, they just like acidic soil.
Acidic soil.
So you gotta put like some pine bark or something like that. Peat moss around the base. And kind of water, because our water is like very alkaline. It's like 9.5, like
Okay.
city water. So you want to put like some kind of acidity to it. Keep it about 4 to 5 pH. And that's probably why these are not as big as they could be, because they really haven't been managed, to be honest.
When you plant these, do you do any sort of soil testing beforehand to figure out the pH levels?
You can. It's probably going to be like 7 anyway, so I would just dig a hole, put some peat moss in it, a little, maybe water it with some, what's it called? Ammonium nitrate or something like that. Some kind of ammonium-based fertilizer which lowers the pH.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Keep them pruned, you know, so
That gives me some ideas.
so that you get more productive branches. Yeah, I'll probably put some sprinklers or something out there just to keep water.
And these are just going to keep coming back every year, getting bigger, bushing out more.
But they might be less productive if they're not managed. Yeah, like this is dying. So that's probably why you need to prune. And just, you know, you got to maintain them. Or they'll get. I mean, when I was in Memphis, like during college, we went to a blueberry farm in Memphis. I mean, when I was in Tennessee, the guys had 30-year-old blueberry plants. They were like 12 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
massive
like
plant.
5 acres of like 30-year-old plants. I've never seen anything that big before.
Talking about some heirlooms. Thanks for the tour, Stephen. I've got some questions here for you. Very first thing, you told us what you guys do for ag in the city. How did all of this start? Obviously, none of this just happens overnight.
Right. Well, you know, part of it is my profession to be a horticulturalist. So, you know, that's what I do in my professional time. But since I live in this neighborhood, I, you know, frequent this area all the time, and I kind of saw that it wasn't being used to its, you know, full potential. I, you know, asked if I could use the greenhouse to grow in, you know, during the winter to do some hydroponic crops and stuff over the winter, and it kind of just expanded from that. I was able to actually train a local grower on growing microgreens and hydroponic lettuce, and since then he's gone to, you know, start his own business growing microgreens and selling them like that. So I just saw, you know, the potential that it could have, you know, with educating people on just different things they can do in the agricultural space. So like, I didn't want it to be like most other organizations where it's just about community gardening, and then, you know, the community gardens are kind of inefficient. They don't really get used well. So I wanted to do something different to show people how you could use agriculture as a way to supplement your income. You know, really, so like to help them not only sustain themselves, but find out cool and like innovative ways that they can make money from it. You know, and that was really the goal, to educate people with the purpose of them taking that skill to, you know, to make money with that. So it kind of just grew from the passion of wanting to help people, wanted to use this space, my, you know, my own desires to just have a space that I could grow, because in college I did all my research in the greenhouse, so like I have a lot of experience with greenhouse management and things like that. So it's just cool that, you know, to have a space right down the street from my house where I could do this, and it's kind of really just taking off from there. You know, like I originally made my Ag in the City page just as a place to house all my pictures, like of just like plants and different things that I've done, and it kind of just really grown from there, you know.
And this has all just happened over the course of a year.
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. So like we started about October of 2018, and it's kind of just taken off from there. So, like the way we got into selling produce is like a whole nother story. Just from living in the area, wanting to go to Kroger's to get some water. My wife's like, "Hey, can you grab some water?" So it's like 8:30 on a Saturday, I think, or 9 o'clock. The Kroger's was closed. I'm like, "What the heck?" So like, I go down to one of the corner stores, like on Market Street, or like several of them, ask actually to see if they had cases of water to sell. None of them would sell the case. They all would break down Kroger water, Kroger water, and sell it for like $1 a bottle. So I'm like, well, dang,
Right.
where can I get a case? So like, finally, one of the stores down there was like, yeah, we'll sell you the case. I'm like, well, what's it cost? He's like, it's gonna be $9. I'm like, this is only I was like, this is only $3 at Kroger. She's like, well, Kroger's is closed. I was like, you know what? I just threw the water down. I was like, you know what? I'm about to do something about this, So I left. And I contacted Miss French over there in French Plaza and asked if we could set up a farmer's market. Just a way to provide, start a market to provide fresh produce and food and stuff, and kind of combat the price gouging that a lot of these corner stores are doing. And then, just change the culture, I guess, of what we're eating in these neighborhoods. So, like, there's, many organizations that have been working on food stores. I'm just gonna say that. I'm not gonna say in the area for like at least 6 years. And taking surveys, meeting with people from different cities who like run co-ops and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know what? I just took my own money out of my pocket. Went and got the produce, talked to some people we could set up, and we got the black farmers from Bowling Green to bring us the produce, and we just started, just from our own pockets. And it's been successful since then, it didn't take a brain surgeon to know that there's 95,000 people, there's 93,000 people within a 1 mile radius of this zip code. And there's only 2 grocery stores, so it's a no-brainer that people want food,
Right.
And, like part of the myth was, well, the people in this area, they're not going to want quality food. They might not want, they might not be so big on fresh produce, but, that's a lot, so.
Yeah.
Like, most of my friends I know who live over here, they're all vegans or, vegetarians or just eat healthy. So.
And people are continuing to like trend that way to try to eat better, have healthier lifestyle.
Right. And like the largest growing demographic of vegetarians is black people. So,
how'd you end up contacting all these farmers and sourcing for your boxes?
So like some of the farmers I know, we've worked together in the past. And they've been doing things around the city with other organizations providing them produce. So, we hooked up with them because they're actually the one who came up here, showed me how to set everything up. They gave me the template for the boxes and everything, because we've never done it before. So they kind of coached us. And they were at our farmers market, I think, for the first month, just kind of selling stuff too. And then said, okay, you're good. We'll just start bringing you produce. You can run it. And we kind of just taken that template and really expanded it. Became more creative with it. So we source some stuff from them when they're in season. We go to some wholesalers to get stuff when it's out of season, because we don't want it just to be a seasonal thing where we have to shut down in the winter. We want to be able to keep providing people food all year round. So we had to find some ways to get produce from other places. So without saying too much, like one of the places we get produce from is the same place that supplies Paul's fruit stand in Bardstown, on Bardstown Road. Like we're getting the same produce as they get, But since we don't have a lot of overhead with like the stores and employees, we can, still give it at a reasonable price. So, and then recently, since the season has been coming in, we've kind of like been phasing out some of the stuff we buy, that may come from like another state or something, and kind of bringing in local growers. So like this past week, we were able to get a lot of our greens, like the kale you saw, the collard greens, green onions. We had Malabar spinach. We had cilantro. That all came from some refugee farmers from their garden on Miller's Lane. So it was all harvested that morning. It's grown with no pesticides, all organic, even though it's not certified. And we still were able to give it, at a reasonable price, whereas it cost you like $8 or $9 a bunch, anywhere else. So
and that's excellent. It's supporting refugee communities as well. Everybody's benefiting from the partnerships.
Right. And so like what we've been doing is adding a la carte items to the box. So like the box is $25 for produce, but then we started, pretty much we're taking the farmers market vendors and adding them as options on your box. So like Frank from Health Daddy Wow, he sells his teas and herbs. So now you can order your box, but if you want to add on an additional item, you could select one of his teas for like an additional $5. Then we have who else is on there? There's a lady who makes homemade handcrafted butter, like peanut butter and almond butter and pumpkin seed butter. So she's one of the items that we added to our cart that you can order directly from us, and like we don't even take any money from that. That just goes straight to her, you know. So just a way to incorporate these local black businesses into a product that like many people know about already. So like we're looking to expand more products.
We're talking about a lot of cool things like special nut butter, sunflower, pumpkin seed. Are these things that have been met with any kind of like intimidation by the community? Are they like open to this?
Yeah. So I mean, like the people who follow us, they know we grow, and like many of them are kind of like health conscious anyway. So these are things that they've been wanting, So like no one has really had too many questions, but there are some people who do. So like we do giveaways to people in the community who might not necessarily eat a lot of fresh produce. So like we've ran into situations where the boxes we've given away to them, we found them abandoned like in a hallway somewhere where they just took like all the fruit and left the greens, just threw them away because they didn't really know what to do with them or might not be familiar with them. So we would definitely need to start doing some classes to educate people on what to do with this, so they could really know what to do and expand their palates, and really get access to a lot more healthier food options.
Absolutely. Now, this is all really great, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 outbreak. Have you found that the outbreak has significantly impacted you and that you've been able to meet more community needs?
Yeah, the COVID outbreak, coupled with like the protests and stuff that's going on, has really raised a lot of people's consciousness on just how vulnerable our communities are to like food insecurity, especially with that Kroger's getting vandalized on 28th. Since then, it's been like the skyrocket of at least of interest, So because we sell about on average 30 boxes a week, consistently, but we've had a lot more interest in our page and what we're doing. A lot more people are sharing. We had people just reach out for donations. So like even some of these local farmers who we may have contacted in the past last year to provide food for us, and they couldn't because whatever obligations they had, they've been reaching out to us like, hey, we have produce we can donate to you, to give out on your good garden boxes. So we've had a lot of participation from the community, just wanted to give back and wanted to help out the community since then. So I know the COVID has impacted us to the point where we haven't done the farmers market like we wanted to this year, just because with all the restrictions they have and stuff like that. We figured it'd just be easier just to not really deal with that and kind of just do a pre-order, delivery pickup type thing. We do want to do one, just to get the community feel back, because that was a great place to network. Like we met a lot of new friends. Was able to share information and things like that. So it was a good place to gather. So we're thinking about maybe trying to do one just event for the year or something like that. But that was really our biggest impact, is not being able to do the farmers market.
Give me a lot of really good information. I think I'm going to wrap up with what would you like to see Ag in the City expand to within the next 2 to 5 years?
I would like for Ag in the City to be the hub of urban agriculture in Louisville. So like the place to go to where if you have produce that you want to sell, we'll be the hub to distribute your produce out to local businesses or, and organizations. We'd like to be able to expand our production capabilities by training people in the community, giving them the opportunity to have a career or at least just earn additional income through like growing hydroponically or maybe managing farms, maybe doing classes at people's houses, maintaining their personal gardens, things like that. And we want to just expand our reach to even other cities. So like right now, I'm actually collaborating with a guy in Chicago through Facebook. I'm teaching him how to grow microgreens to start his own business in Chicago, and he's successfully grown some now. Like we had a few hiccups, but he successfully had a harvest, to provide food for his family. And I gave him some resources where he can get like the free hot tunnels and stuff through the USDA. So he's gonna work on that next. And like once he gets that set up, we're probably gonna go to Chicago and like really help him get Ag in the City. So like we would like to see us expand to different cities, and they can like replicate the model that we have and start their own markets and things like that. So that's the long. That might be more, beyond 2 years, but that's really the goal. So like we really like to get a building, like a warehouse style building. So that's really our next immediate goal is to get a building and a truck that we could do deliveries, things like that.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Stephen, for giving us this wonderful tour. Everybody, I'm Chef Mark. This has been Steve, and if you're not already following, follow Ag in the City on Facebook. Keep updated, keep interested in it. This is a wonderful thing that is only going to get bigger and better from here. Support your communities. If you want us to do anything else community-oriented around food that's not specifically cooking, let us know down in the comments, and we will be seeing you next time.
Peace.